everybody. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my new thesis of why I think copper could 10x in 2026 and throughout the whole and within the next decade. So, first, let's look at some facts about copper. Did you know that between 2022 and 2050, we will need more copper than humanity has ever used from 1900 to 2021? Did you also know that current copper mines plus projects only cover about 80% of the worldwide demand? That is insane. Current mines and projects only cover about 80% of the demand, leaving a massive gap. If you're into AI, EVs, or robotics like myself, copper is a hidden play that you can't ignore. Now, let's take a look at why copper is going to be one of the most sought after metals in the next couple of years. There are three very important factors to look at. The first is starting with AI. Copper is the backbone of AI infrastructure. Data centers from companies like Meta and Google need miles of copper for power transmission, cooling systems, and high-speed networking. Remember how NVIDIA's chips are flying off of the shelves? Well, each AI server rack guzzles copper, up to 10 times more than traditional servers. Goldman Sachs predicts that AI data center power demand will hit 160 gigawatts by 2030. That's like powering 130 million homes across the US. So, more AI means more copper. Stocks like Iron and CPER that are in my watch list are already pivoting to AI energy, and copper's right in that mix. I've made a due diligence on Iron and Galaxy if you want to check that out. But next, let's look at EVs and robotics. Electric vehicles use 3 to 4 times more copper than gas cars, about 80 to 100 kilograms per vehicle for wiring, motors, and batteries. Tesla is pushing for 20 million EVs by 2030, and with China dominating production, global demand could double. Now, let's take a look at robotics. Tesla's Optimus, Boston Dynamics Atlas, they all rely on copper wiring for efficiency and conductivity. No other metal does it better without spiking costs. By 2030, the robotics market could be $210 billion per McKinsey, and copper is essential. If humanoid robots become everyday, like smartphones, we're talking exponential copper needs. Not to mention, copper's heat dynamics and electrical capabilities make it a great play for anybody that's interested in aerospace and defense. Now, let's talk about the supply shortage. Copper supply is choking. Building a new copper mine takes 10 to 15 years, not including regulations, local pushbacks, and environmental hurdles. Ore grades are declining. Mines like Chile's Escondida are yielding less copper per ton of rock, jacking up the costs. The International Energy Agency warns of a 20 to 30% shortfall by 2030 if no new projects ramp up. Historically, we've seen this before. In the 1970s, oil crises, shortages drove prices wild. Copper hit all-time highs in 2024 and 2025 amid green energy pushes, but 2026 could dwarf that with AI layering on top. Geopolitics are also huge. Peru and Chile produce 40% of global copper, and strikes or export curbs, like Indonesia's recent bans, or tariffs on these countries could squeeze supply further. Now, let's take a look at a graph. So, by the year 2030, we are projected to use 33 to 36 million tons of copper. In 2040, that goes to 40 to 45 million metric tons. In 2050, it goes to 50 to 55 metric tons. So, from 2030 to 2050, that's almost doubling in the amount of copper that we will need, which is absolutely crazy. So, let's take a look at how to invest in this copper theme. What I would choose there are three major things that you can do. You can go for the major copper miners like Freeport, McMoran, BHP, CCR, Rio, and Texas. They have scaled dividends and exposure to multiple metals, not just copper. FCX is honestly my personal fave. They have a massive Grasberg mine, and they have a bunch of EV tie-ins. But they're not all pure copper plays. If iron ore tanks, they'll also dip. Now, you can also invest in the copper ETFs. COPEX is for global miners, but copper tracks copper futures directly. It's pretty liquid, has low fees, and perfect for Roth IRAs or swing trades. Chart wise, copper is holding about its 50-day SMA. It breaks 30, and we could see 40 quick. I've got it in my portfolio for 10x potential by 2030. And now let's take a look at some high risk, high reward miners. For the bold people who want that high risk, high reward, you have Atex Resources, North Isle Copper, Ivanhoe Electric, and TMQ Trilogy Metals. These are juniors with exploration upside. For example, IE's using AI for discovery, and this company could 5 to 10x on a big find, but volatility is definitely high on all these companies. AI shows no signs of stopping, robots are the future, and the world needs way more electricity. And where does this point to? Copper. Is copper a 10x? Based on demand projections and supply gaps, yeah. It's undervalued and it's primed for a run, but markets are wild. Rate cuts could definitely accelerate this, or recessions could delay it. And where does this all point to? Copper. So now let's do a little bit of technical analysis on copper. So as you can see, CPER, which is the United States Copper Index Fund, which tracks all the big copper miners and copper ETFs. Let's take a look. So as you can see right now, copper is about at 36.52. It is above all the key SMAs and has gone on a pretty big run over the past couple of days. As you can see, it kind of fell a bit to 35, but is now up to 36. And although it did experience a huge dump on this day, I'm not really sure why this was, but ever since then, with the pickup of gold and silver, it has just been going up. Now we can also take a look at CFDs on copper, which are pretty much the same thing. As you can see, it's above all its EMAs and is holding this well. But one thing that I want to point out is, let's take a look at silver. Silver has gone on an absolutely parabolic run over the past couple of months. As you can see, it went all the way from $27 in last year, April, all the way up to $92, which is a 250% increase, while copper has only seen about a 35% increase from its all-time high. So I still think that copper has an absolutely huge way to go and could definitely 10x within the next decade or so. Probably by 2030 would be my guess. Honestly, it all just depends on how quick everybody figures out that copper is going to be the next supply shortage and that we are going to need more copper. I'll also do some technical analysis on some of the copper miners. Let's see. Rio. Okay. So yeah, all these companies are pretty much up because of the massive surge in metals from gold and silver. Let's see, Rio is up about 50%. Let's take a look at FCX, which is one of my favorites, or one of my favorite big copper companies. And yeah, as you can see, this one's up about 70%. So all the copper miners are up right now. But what I'm really interested in is these 10x plays. I'm definitely going to do more research into them. But yeah, overall, I think copper will be the next precious metal to see a huge surge in price. And all signs showed to there being a supply shortage, which could definitely lead the stocks up higher. All right, thank you guys. And as always, do your own research before investing in anything.